TopLobsta Productions.
We are being hypnotized by people like this. Newsreaders, politicians, teachers, lecturers. We are in a country and in a world that is being run by unbelievably sick people. The chasm between what we're told is going on and what is really going on is absolutely enormous.
Oh yeah, dude. There's some Nephilim. It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying shit what happens to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about how they made us modern-day slaves. And everybody's just walking around, head in the clouds, and won't awaken to a dead in the grave. By then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end of days.
Everybody is slaves, only some are aware that the government releasing poison in there.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Nephilim Death Squad. Dude, why'd you start with the name shot?
My bad.
Unbelievable. I am David L Corbo, a.k.a. The Raven. That is TopLobsta, the father of disinformation. Before we get into today's guest, I want to tell you guys that I have a great disdain for you pores, and therefore I will be pulling the plug on this stream at the 30-minute mark, and we'll be going live exclusively to patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad, where we will be catering to the wealthy, the rich, the decadent, and we'll be giving them all sorts of perks like early access to episodes, obviously early access to the rest of this episode. Those people with money will be able to engage in the live chat, and everybody's going to have a good time, and it's going to be pore free. It's going to be void of the pores. And it's going to feel good. It's going to feel good for me. It's going to feel good for you.
That's right. And also, if you are on the Patreon, we have extensive discounts. I'm going to organize it a little bit better, but on TopLobsta.com.
It's a beautiful website.
Yeah, we just revamped it. All brand new designs up there. So go ahead up there, check that out. But I think like the discount rate is 15, 20, and 30. 30% is basically...
Can you click on the acidic one?
Yeah, we could.
I like that one a lot. That's a very I love the design. Acidic is a real great that's a great shirt.
If you go into your local synagogue, pick up a TopLobsta shirt and
ruffle some feathers.
Let's get it. Ruffle some scales.
ruffle some scales. Guys, joining us today is Chris of Forbidden Knowledge News. Have you been on the show with me? I've been on Forbidden Knowledge News. It's a wonderful conversation.
Both of you have been on, yes.
We have been on. I don't know why you would invite him, but I really enjoy talking to you every time I'm on the show. And I said, it's time to have Chris on our show. And at first he said no, actually.
He did?
He did say no. And I
blame
said,
him.
I get it. I understand. But I promise it's not going to ding your reputation. And he said, if it doesn't ding my reputation, that's fine. I'll come on the show. So he's here today. Chris of Forbidden Knowledge News. Before we start, where can everybody find your work, brother?
Before we do that, thank you, gentlemen, for having me on. Looking forward to getting super weird today. You can find all my shiz on my website, forbiddenknowledge.news. I'm all the podcast platforms. You can find Forbidden Knowledge News. My films, one that was just recently released, Doors of Perception, is exclusively on Amazon Prime. And my previous film, Occult Louisiana, is available on Tubi, Roku channel, and multiple other streaming platforms. So that is where you can find me.
We got to ask you how you even do that.
Wait, look, that's me in the bottom.
Oh, there you go.
There he is. There he is.
I was on the show. I really enjoy Chris because he's a guy that works his ass off.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that about him. We were just talking to XG the other day, and it's another guy who works his ass off. And like, it's refreshing to see people not just like kind of calling it in. Like that's not what's happening here. Chris and Forbidden Knowledge News, you're busting your hump and you're making a lot of content. I wanna get into your documentary, but before we even do that, I want to know how a guy gets into not only this content creation, this conspiracy realm of content creation, but then also decides like, you know what, this is where I'm going to plant my flag and I'm going to build here. What got you doing that?
It is a crazy convoluted story, but I'll try and condense it down and break it down for you guys. It was really all, I think, by accident. I never expected to do any of this stuff. First of all, I'll preface everything I'm going to say with sorry if I piss off some Christians tonight, but it's probably going to happen.
This is a Christian show. We piss off Christians all the time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I'm in the right place. So it all started around 2012 when I was in a very bad marriage with my ex-wife, and I was lost. I had some Nephilim demons swimming around in my brain for sure, man. I was on prescription drugs. I was on all kinds of drugs. I was fat and just not interested in anything, man. Just I was working my corporate job. I was making, decent money, but I thought that's what life was about, In my childhood, I was super interested in all this stuff. I was super interested in the paranormal and the occult and conspiracies, and I grew up Catholic. I was terrified of the Catholic religion, so I checked out of that at a very early age, but I always kind of kept near and dear to my heart the teachings of Jesus Christ, because I always felt intuitively there's something to this. This is the way to be. But, by the time I was in my teenage years, drugs and rock and roll took over my life, and I completely forgot about all those teachings. I completely forgot about anything that I enjoyed in life, basically, and just started going through, the motions. But in 2012, I was going through a divorce and just lost and had no idea how to make anything out of my life. I was doing this corporate job, which was making me money. I was surviving okay. I was actually making pretty good money, but I was miserable. And I started at YouTube, and I was like, you know what? I used to be interested in the paranormal. I used to be interested in all this weird. Let me see if I can just immerse myself in this and forget about my troubles. So that's what I did, but I got super immersed into it. I got sucked into conspiracy land back in the golden age of YouTube, when you could find all the wonderful conspiracy videos. I was deep in it. Then I started buying books from my favorite authors, and I started trying to talk to my family and friends about it. And that was one.
First mistake.
That's where you went wrong. Yeah.
That is where I went. This was in like 2013, dude. And like nobody was talking about any of this stuff. And my family nearly disowned me. I lost almost all my friends. I was in a second marriage at this time, and my wife was like just about to jet out the door. Well, ex-wife now, she did jet. So I was kind of by myself in this realm, and I didn't know what to do about that, because I had all this information bubbling up inside me and I had to share it. So started a YouTube channel. It actually started as a Facebook blog, Forbidden Knowledge News blog, and I just started writing about all this weird, and people started following it, and I felt stupid because I knew I wasn't smart enough to convey a lot of these topics. So I'm like, I gotta interview people. I gotta, get people on and do a YouTube channel. Start as a YouTube channel. And God bless Charlie Robinson. He was one of my early guests. He came on and he's like, dude, you got to turn this into a podcast. And I'm like, what the is a podcast? So he explained everything to me. He hooked me up with my now producer, Corey Hughes. And he already had a few podcasts under his belt. They were like crypto podcasts. No one was doing really conspiracy stuff at the time. So we converted it.
Crypto podcast like back in 2012 or something like that.
It was like 2014 when I actually started the podcast. I was doing the YouTube channel for a couple of years. That grew. Converted it to the podcast in about 2014, 2015, and it actually, started taking off. But like I didn't know how to convert this into a career, how to make money off it. I mean, we weren't making but maybe $100 a month off of what we were doing. Had no idea how to do it. And that's when I had my first insane, you could say, spiritual experience, even maybe contact experience. It was okay. So I was doing the show for a while. I was doing the podcast. It was kind of popular. It was picking up speed. Didn't know how to make money off it. We were on all the podcast platforms. Then 2019 ends. It was the very beginning of 2020. And COVID hadn't really reared its ugly head in the way that we are all familiar with at the time. But again, I was going through another bad time with everything. I hated my job more than ever, even though I was doing the show. The show was like my only reprieve. I'd come home. It was the thing that I loved to do after my show, talk to weird people, and then back to my sucky life. at the time I'm still doing pharmaceuticals, drugs, just not living the right way. Didn't even consider anything spiritual, but I started to do spiritual shows at the time, started to talk about meditation, all the woo-woo stuff. And I was like, I need to do something. So maybe I should meditate, man. Maybe, I don't know. So I did. I started meditating very unsuccessfully for a long time. But this one night in 2020, I came home and I was just so frustrated. I was talking to some guests on my show before about meditation techniques, and I remembered one of them recommended putting on 432 hertz tones in the background while I do this. And not only that, I had this weird intuitive sense to get in water. So I immersed myself in the bathtub. I started meditating. I had the tones on. And this is when it got weird. A voice started speaking. And it wasn't like my normal conscious. It wasn't, me talking to myself. There was something different here. And it was coinciding this feeling of love that I'd never felt before. I thought I loved my parents, but this kind of love feeling was like, it made me so emotional. I was like crying. I was like, what the is going on? What is this feeling? Felt like I was on some weird love drug. And this voice starts speaking and I freak out. I'm like, I revert to childhood dogma. I'm saying, in the name of Jesus Christ, are you a demon? And this voice is like kind of lovingly laughing and saying, no, we are of the Christ. We're here to speak with him. I'm like, well, okay. So this voice beaming love, telling me that they deliver the message of Christ consciousness to those who are ready to receive. And like, I have a much better understanding of what this is now, which we'll get to in a little later, but I didn't know what I thought I was talking to an alien. I had no idea, man. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Something is speaking to me, but I feel comfortable enough talking to it because I don't think it's a demon. And I'm like, all right, so what is going on? It's like, well, I've been with you your whole life, but it's time for you to listen because it seems like you're not too happy with your life. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And it said, well, all right, we got to work on some. He's like, you are getting into toxic relationships. The women you're getting with are awful, nasty women. You're not treating people right. You are on pharmaceuticals. Let's start with all this bullshit first and see if we can heal some childhood trauma and get you on track, because you're never going to be successful as long as you keep living the way you're living. I'm like, what? Like, these are things that I didn't want to hear, because at the time, my dumbass wasn't considering cleaning up my life or, stopping pharmaceuticals or eating better or doing any of the that this weird voice is recommending in my head. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And the conversation lasted like 2 hours. This voice then continues to tell me the world's about to get weirder. There's going to be events happening that you need to prepare yourself for. And by getting yourself healthy and getting yourself into a better spiritual state, this is going to help you prepare for everything. Oh, and by the way, quit your job and do the podcast full time. And I'm like,
what kind of events? What kind
of events? They were speaking of the COVID events. They didn't get specific, but they said the world's about to change in a big way. It did. I don't see it. It wasn't they, it was this voice. And it said, you need to quit your job and start doing this podcast full time. And I laughed. I thought it was, funny. It's like, there's no way in hell, I'm making like 70, 80 grand a year doing this corporate job. How am I going to, how am I going to off of this?
Embodied entity, do you not know that there's no money in podcasting? Are you unaware that there's zero money in podcasting? What are you talking about?
It's like, oh no, I know. Do it.
Yeah, I definitely knew.
Yeah.
But it was insane, man. Eventually, it was like the voice faded away. It was like flickering. It was like tuning to a station that you couldn't pick up anymore, and it was gone. So I'm like totally bugging out after this. I have no idea if I just had an acid flashback or if I'm going nuts, if I broke something in my brain. I'm calling people that I, talk to on the podcast, getting every perspective from people who are spiritual, people who follow Christ, people who are into aliens. I'm like trying to get every perspective as possible. And I'm like, you know what? None of these are helping me. I just got to do this again. I got to see if this is real by trying to do this again. So days went by, tried, never worked. Then finally it worked again, and the voice came back even stronger. This time it presented me with a memory of like this extremely traumatic childhood event that I forgot about. And it was like, you see like this, you got to remember this. You got to work through it before you're going to heal or be able to do anything. And it was like super traumatic event. And I remembered it. And I'm like, what the? Started crying. And I felt like this weight lift off of me. And he's like, all right, this is step one. You're getting there. And it started explaining to me, things that I should keep doing to make myself healthy and eat better and treat people better. And the voice was like, I know you fell away from your religious beliefs because of fear and dogma. And it's like, you can find a different path to Christianity without all the dogma. It, went on to say that a lot of that is just pure mind control. And a lot of that is, a lot of what we see in the Bible is pure gold. It is pure truth, but there have been a lot of things that have put in there for control. And it was a strange conversation about spirituality. And I was still not ready to take that spiritual route, but I was ready to start like changing my diet. And within a few months, I quit all the pharmaceuticals. This was such a profound experience. Like, I made these changes in my life very rapidly. I also quit my job within 6 months because for some reason at my job started getting so horrible after that event that it's like it forced me to do it. I got new managers that were complete dicks. Every single customer was pissing me off more than ever. And I was like, all right, so this is it. I took out my 401k and yeah.
Can I ask you something real quick, Chris? So being into conspiracies as long as you were, all of that kind of crap comes up about the dangers of, let's say, like the slop that they feed us through all these various corporations and everything. What do you think was the reason that you never looked at that angle, or maybe you did look at it, but you never incorporated it into your life until, at the behest of this entity?
I was looking at all of it. I was looking at alternative health, but at the time I was just so lost emotionally and spiritually, and I had so much muck and trauma that I couldn't make that connection that if I did that myself, my life might get better. And it didn't really click and connect until after I made contact with what this voice is. And I'll tell you, I understand now
Chris,
that this.
One more question. I'm sorry, I might have missed. You said, were you on psychedelics with the 432? No, just 432 in water.
Psychedelics came later, but yes, this voice actually. The strangest thing, the second time I made contact with it, it's like
not to discredit. I'm not trying to like scrape at a story or anything, because we have. I'll tell you later, but very, very similar story. Episode 15 of this show, right off the bat, we've delved into this subject, and your story is almost like word for word the same.
I imagine, Chris, your story has to have resonated with people to a degree where you've gotten that reciprocal, hey, this sounds just like what I went through.
Oh yeah, plenty of times. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I eventually came to the understanding that this voice is my conscious, it's my higher self, me talking to myself, but it's a divine connection to myself, one that is closer to God than anything else. And I've tested this through years of, talking with this thing and trying to understand. And in the beginning, it actually suggested that I use psilocybin to heal myself, to heal the trauma, because it would be a fast route to be able to do this. It'd be quicker than doing any other therapeutic, types of things to try and heal the childhood trauma that I had built up. And it was so strange to me because the last time I'd done psychedelics, I was a teenager. Mushrooms scared the shit out of me. I was never thinking about going back and doing that again, but it was like, yeah, do psilocybin and you're going to heal some. So I'd forgotten about that for a while. Eventually, I was able to quit my job, pulled out my 401k, and I moved to Colorado. I always wanted to move to Colorado. I always wanted to be in the mountains. I was in South Louisiana at the time, and it just wasn't a conducive environment to creativity or anything like that. So I just wanted to get out of there. And when I moved to Colorado, realized that the magic mushrooms were legal there, and I started growing them bitches. I was like, all right, let's see what this shit's all about. And I started doing very high therapeutic doses, and they were terrifying for very long time, but I felt that after each experience, something was healing. I felt better, even though like I'd be confronting the most horrible traumas that I'd had. It would bring up memories that were so lost and experiences that I probably would have never remembered otherwise, and just putting them in my face so that I could, basically heal from them. And this was months and months. I would do a high dose, about 4 or 5 grams once a month, and that went on for about 2 or 3 years. I no longer do the mushrooms because the final experience I had was the final chapter. It's all I needed. But they helped me heal so much, man. Like I owe so much of where I'm at and my ability to communicate, my ability to understand things, and my spiritual connection to God, how I treat people, how I take care of myself. So much is due to my healing from the psilocybin mushrooms. And I noticed about after a year of living in Colorado, like struggling our asses off, not knowing if we'd be able to do it. One day we look at our revenue and it's like, damn, I can pay rent this month with this. And the next month's like, I can pay rent and get a hamburger. So it just kept getting better and better. And that's like, this is, I can't deny that what happened to me with those voices wasn't a very powerful metaphysical experience, and to basically lead me on my way. And that basically opened up many doors of understanding. And it also opened up a lot of trouble for me because I had so many possibilities of what this realm is, understanding the nature of reality, that it almost drove me crazy. But I was able to kind of pack everything together in last year, actually, through a series of psychedelic experiences, finishing my movie, and some real life experiences that were pretty insane, like going to Skinwalker Ranch and uh, you know witnessing some pretty interesting things. But
Oh, how'd you get on
yeah,
there, man?
we Ryan Burns.
Yeah.
I don't know him, but yeah, I know
Right.
who
He was
yeah.
Ryan was technically hosting the Moon Lake thing,
Mm-hmm.
but then there was high levels of we were going to go to Moon Lake, but the entire event got canceled because of unsafe levels of radiation.
Yeah, I've known Ryan for a while. He came on my show a long time ago. We hit it off, and he has a ranch right next door to Skinwalker, like literally right next door, called Space Wolf Research.
Mhm.
And we spent a couple of nights over there for filming Doors of Perception. And man, it wasn't so much what we saw, but because we saw some crazy, but it was the stories that Ryan told us about some of the things that happened on the ranch that were absolutely insane. And we felt like we had a little bit of a hitchhiker that came home with us after, because we had some extremely negative happening in our household, some weird things that we couldn't account for, things going missing. And like days later, I found I had brought home a rock from there that I didn't even realize I'd brought home. I put it on the table. Somehow it got in my bag, and we figure that's what it's from, because once we got rid of the rock, did some prayers, things like that, it all stopped. But it was pretty insane. But the that goes on there, I'm convinced it is at least 90% exotic military technology that they're testing out there, as opposed to like, real paranormal type activity, which does occur, but at a probably much smaller level than the exotic military weaponry that they're testing out there.
It seems like if there was a thinning of the veil or whatever is conventionally explained when it comes to Skinwalker Ranch, that if that was known to any degree, that the military might have an interest in there. So it's maybe a question of chicken or egg, or when you say that 90% of it is exotic military technology, what's the old explanation, or the old quote is like, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Yeah. So I mean, I wonder, because there always seems to be this large overlap of mysticism and technology. And then, of course, when those two things come together, the military seems to have some interest in it one way or another.
Well, not only do high-level military personnel, aerospace companies, but billionaires and Satanists throw money at Ryan to go and just hang out on his land for a few days and do experiments and rituals and God knows what else. He has an actual Satanist that is renting a sliver of land from him that puts on a light show at night from a tent that he claims attracts the old ones. And the dude walks around in like this red hood and robe with this wand or something, and he's got these skulls all around his property. He's a legit like Satanist. And we were talking to him, and he said that he had 2 properties that were legit just blew up somehow. One was struck by lightning, one blew up from some unknown source. 2 of his houses because he f***ed up rituals. And whatever he was trying to, commune with wasn't too happy with him, so it supposedly destroyed 2 of his homes.
I want to go back a little bit, Chris, to this entity that was communicating with you. You said you considered it, after some time and consideration, to be your higher self, a form of your own self that was closer to God. We, like Top was alluding to, had someone on the show, episode 15. His name was Colin, and Colin was in a pretty destitute place at the time, right? I mean, I think he was going through a divorce. He was desperate. And one thing leads to another, and eventually he comes into contact with something, tells him to quit his job, which he promptly does. He hears this voice and obeys it. Through some psilocybin use, he starts to have these encounters with these entities, and I think it's even at their request that he's doing the psilocybin. And and
it'll like tell him where to like do it now, meet me here,
that kind of.
I never had any of that, but yeah.
Well, I mean, in some ways, yours is more amazing in some regards than his. But ultimately, what ends up happening is he is one experiences an abduction scenario where he wakes up during it, and they tell him, number one, calm down. You've consented to this. You don't remember that, but you have consented to this. Number two, you're being upgraded for a coming war, which is like there's this anticipatory event, right? That you're being prepared for one way or another.
Yeah, diet is a big one.
Diet, exercise. He's running. He's lifting.
Was your diet? I think he went. Did he go completely vegan or?
I don't know if he went vegan or vegetarian, but he did. There was a dramatic. I think you're right. I think it may.
No, I just stopped eating processed foods and basically.
Yeah. But it is interesting because now obviously you don't need an entity to tell you that. If you listen to Joe Rogan, he's gonna go like, I don't know, dude. Maybe you should eat some.
Well, who told Joe Rogan that?
Oh, who told Joe Rogan that? He's right. He's in
the
those
float tank.
John C. Lilly float tanks and doing DMT. But it's interesting because there is this aspect of like cleaning up your life, and I think you probably understand, Chris. Unless you have the experience yourself, it's reasonable to be like highly like, even if it's telling me something good, I'm like, what's going on here? What do you get? I'm a skeptical person by nature because, or else I wouldn't be a conspiracy theorist, right? I've been lied to enough, is what I'm getting at, Chris, and so I'm always looking at these things like I wonder, like, okay, here, let me ask you this: at any point, was it all good, or was there anything that all of it was good?
All of it. Now
that was the same thing with Colin. All of it was good too.
This is the thing. I questioned the same things. There were times where I'd even go like a couple of months thinking, man, I'm communicating with a demon. This thing is trying to get one over on me, just because of the topics I was interested in at the time, sure. The people I was, and that's where perception, my film Doors of Perception comes in. I believe our perception, whatever we're focusing on, is going to manifest in our life in a big way. So, going through all those worries with this being, I would never, I'd always be like, questioning, are you of Christ? In the name of Christ, I demand you tell me if you're deceiving me. And it would just be like, come on, dude, what, this again? It's just such a loving, like, You don't have to worry about this. I've been talking to you since you could understand words, since you were a baby. You just didn't have that separate identity that this is your conscious or this is your higher self. It's always just been that voice in your head that says, don't do that, stupid. Don't be mean to grandma. Don't, the way it explained it to me is everybody has this thing. And they can choose to listen, they can choose to ignore it, they can choose to think it's a demon, but it's always going to be there. It's always going to be talking. Now you test it by the fruits, by what the information and what is coming out. And I've tested it over and over again. And what it has come out of it is I've healed myself. I have better relationships. I treat people so much better. I have a relationship with Jesus. I talk to Jesus and God all the time. I say prayers, dude. Like I am living by Jesus's teachings to a T because I made contact with this thing, and it encourages, prayer. It encourages talking to Jesus. It encourages having that type of belief system. Because for the longest time, I didn't have any beliefs. I was everywhere. I was like, this could be a simulation. This could be this. This could be that. Now I have the understanding that this is God's realm, that the teachings of Jesus Christ are the way, the light, and the truth. And that's what you follow. That's the way out of this matrix. That's the way to, to redeem your soul, is to follow those teachings. Everything else might be a bunch of muddled bullshit, but I don't care because I focus on that. And that is what gets me from point A to B in my life, from the morning to night and through the next day. That's where it all led me, to those teachings of Jesus Christ. And if that's a demon, my God, what a sucky demon.
Well, that's like when people say like, oh, Jesus is actually like just a fabrication by the, and it's like, well, if you look at what Jesus is
why
teaching,
did he oppose everything they were doing?
Well, not even just that. It's like, oh, so their master plan was to get everybody to live in a way that if we all did, everything would be infinitely better, right? Like that's a why. What a plan. What a trap.
By the way, red heifers apparently have been.
I just see it's like they keep going back and forth. It's like, oh, they didn't. I saw one that said it was an article that came out like a week or two ago that said all of them ended up being non-viable.
Yeah,
and now all of a sudden another one came out and it's like they did it under the cover of night.
There's a lot of misinformation, but some dude was on Timcast, take it or leave it, and he's like, I got a bag. You got a bag of ash. He says it's from the.
Oh, that's
and they had
red
a video.
Heifer ash.
Red heifer ash. They
He
had a
broke
video.
it out. He did a line on the table.
They showed a video of the ceremony. I was just like, hey, dude, I don't know, but whatever.
Well, listen. I want to ask you one more question on this topic, and then I want to move on to your documentary. But before we do,
I kind of wanted to say,
don't we want to kick out these filthy pores
before we do? But
okay, fine.
I wanted to say that like it's such a strange one because our friend Colin, same experience, same sort of thing. He's dealing with these entities and they're giving him great advice. The guy gets in great shape. Same kind of thing, like going through a divorce. This guy's cleaned up his life. Now his relationships are much better. Something happened though along the way. Like, so he was using psilocybin to contact these entities. Got to a point where it was like no longer necessary. I guess the door has been like kicked wide open.
Yeah, didn't they say like, hey, stop showing up here?
It's like
because he's doing the psilocybin. They're like, no more.
You don't need to do that anymore. And but he wasn't in contact with just one. Like he named a couple of entities, described a couple of entities, and then he got into some like weird abduction stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, exactly.
It seems like he's engaging in a spiritual realm where there's a variety of things that exist, and now it's not just the good ones that are interacting, which makes sense. It's like once you're no longer standing on the sidelines, you're now engaged in something. Well, then other things are going to engage with you. You're not you're not stagnant. You're not neutral. You're picking a side, right? And therefore, maybe the other side has an interest in tweaking you a little bit.
Yeah, I think there's an ecosystem out there. And I used to think this was total metaphysical BS when people would say it all depends on where you're vibrating, how high your frequency is. If you're vibrating at a high frequency and you're vibrating with love, you're going to only attract, the higher vibrational beings. I used to think that might probably BS, but after, having experienced other entities, like you were saying, trying to communicate with me,
Mhm.
I never engaged. I never really, would go out and try and channel beings. This one thing that I understood as my higher self, just it's a part of me. So I wasn't seeing it as I was, communicating with anything external. Although that has happened, there have been other things that have kind of communicated with me, but I've never really, engaged in full on conversations with these things. And that was always when I was, tripping, had under the psilocybin experiences and things like that. But I can tell you about one crazy story where my ex-girlfriend shapeshifted into a reptilian.
Okay. Wait. You can't tell us about. Don't tell us about your lizard X yet. We have to. This is top. This is paid tier story time.
Paid stuff.
These other people have to get out of here. All the disgusting pores, guys. If you're not a disgusting pore and you want to prove to you say, you know what, Raven, you know what, Top, I'm going to show you I do have money. Well, then go over to patreon.com//Nephilim Death Squad and use that money. Because you know what? I don't believe you. I think you're a liar.
All right. Enough plugging. All right, that's perfect.
Okay, all right. So
We're moving on.
Man, you're you know what? Just take it away. Take it away from the beginning. What do you mean she's a lizard?
Okay. I'm not saying that she is an actual reptilian, but we'll kind of we'll pick apart everything as we go. But I have to tell you the story for you to understand. This was about 3.5 years ago. I am now happily married to the most wonderful woman in the world. We never argue. It's the most beautiful relationship I've ever been in. Before this, though, I was dating, and I was still doing the horrible relationship thing. This was my final frontier. Like, getting with shitty women is a problem for me. So was a problem. So this was actually a fan of the show, so like first red flag, that reached out to me. And she was hot, man. But she reached out and we started getting together. She lived close by, and we eventually decided it'd be mutually beneficial if we got a place together. And yes, mistake number 2. I must have been like completely blinded to what she was all about.
Did she ever try to like have input on the show? Like, you should do this, you should do that. Why
Yes.
don't you?
Yes, all
That's
the
funny.
freaking
That's
time.
weird.
Yes.
That's funny.
So one day, this was during the beginning stages of my mushroom psilocybin journeys. I was growing them at the time, and she is one of those she self-proclaimed psychic healer people, and she says she's never done psilocybin mushrooms before, but she'd love to try them with me. I'm like, cool, all right. So I dosed her a couple of grams, nothing, that would hopefully not freak her out. And I dose, and a few, like 30 minutes go by, I'm in it, and she's not. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just wait. 2 hours go by, and she's like, no, I feel sleepy, not feeling anything. I'm like, what? Like that. By then we had given her 5 grams, and she's not. Like, these are super mushroom, and she's not.
Just
I'm like,
cold
what the
blooded.
hell is
She's
going?
strong. This is
What is
strong
going
lady.
on? Yeah. So like, she's like, nope, nothing. So we're having this conversation, and eventually, what she's saying sounds not right. It's getting weird. So I look at her, and she says, I found you a while back. I helped you get where you are now. And I just have this feeling you don't love me anymore. When she said that, I kid you not, she grew like 2 or 3 feet and shapeshifted into this reptilian monster, dude. She had yellow pointy teeth, yellow eyes, and she was still wearing my ex-girlfriend's nightie. Is like 6 foot tall reptilian.
Wait.
I said,
How many mushrooms? Because I've taken
I
quite
took
a
about
bit of
5
mushrooms
grams.
Okay, because I took about 5 grams, and
This had never happened in my life. I've never had a
didn't come
hallucination like
anything
that.
close to
No,
seeing that
never.
at all. I
Never.
saw the,
This
the
was
ground expanding and breathing a little
yeah.
bit, and I saw
That was
you know,
about the
yeah.
extent for me. Never.
Yeah.
But it gets crazier. She shapeshifts. She's like, "You don't love me anymore." I'm like, "What the?" I take off. I'm running. I run down to my basement. And I look back and I see her. She's be a big lizard woman chasing me in a nightgown. I'm like, what the? I go
You
and I
gotta
lock myself.
Throw a at her.
She's
That's how you
just
stop 'em.
smashing Tokyo.
Dude, I
Oh
lock
my
myself in
God.
the basement, and this is really falls apart. My entire basement shifts into a dungeon, bro.
Oh,
I have bars on my windows. I look outside, the sky's blood red. I'm like, what the f- is I'm like, okay, I'm the first person that OD'd on mushrooms. I'm obviously in
Wait,
hell.
Chris,
and I have
is it? Can you is it? Can you see the reality underneath it? Is it like, or is
No,
it perfectly
it's-
tethered? A perfect overlay.
I'm in a different realm, man. I'm
Oh,
like,
dude.
dude, it is terrifying, but I'm still in I can still like navigate. It's my house, but it's different. It's totally different. I go back up. There's like cobwebs everywhere. It's like a dingy dungeon everywhere I go.
Have you ever heard of like the mother horse eyes? It's like a long Reddit
Oh
post.
yeah. There's like a mother horse eyes kind of a thing, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, in part of it, in the mother horse eyes cabin where
Yeah.
the kids go, there is a room that is a basement, but it's also a dungeon.
it's a dungeon,
It's
right?
weird. It's kind of weird. It's strange overlap, but
That's
that's
interesting,
That also
though.
has to do with like it's like the LSD realm. Check out Mother Horse Eyes.
Oh,
It's,
you'd love it, Chris. You'd love it.
It's a
10
Reddit
hours.
post. It's a 10-hour listen, but it's like a Reddit post that the guy has posted in different subreddits, and it's a cohesive story. Great story.
Yeah.
It is gripping.
Yeah,
It is gripping, and
It
I think
got that
it's
grippy like
I
your
think
ex-girlfriend.
I think it's real. I think it's real. But look, I just want to say for the audience one more time, like if you've never done mushrooms, like I've done mushrooms, I've done 5 dried grams. That's supposed to be like a heroic dose. You don't get. I didn't get like I engaged in a conversation with my buddy's mom for like a good hour, and she never knew I was on mushrooms. Like it is a manageable experience, unless maybe you get like you start to go to a dark place in your mind, but nothing. I'm just saying like things maybe looked a little bit more vivid. The world was maybe a little bit more beautiful in its way, and there was some strange visual hallucinations, like the ground kind of expanding and contracting like it was breathing. You have some visual acuity, really get dialed up. But what he's talking about, that is not your run of the mill. That's not a normal. That's like an
That's
acid.
like what's really happening.
That is a wild level of hallucination feels like a stupid ass word. I tend to agree with Chris. You were in a different realm, homie.
Dude, it felt like it. And like I said, I thought I died. I didn't know what to do. I sneaked back upstairs, and somehow I managed to avoid the 6-foot tall reptilian in a nightie. And I sneak into my bathroom, and I'm like, what the I lock the bathroom door. I don't know what to do. I turn on the shower. I jump in the shower, and like water's just pouring on, steaming hot water. I'm like, I start praying. I said, God. And as soon as I said, God, please, this rumbling in my stomach, and I puked up this black, viscous, I don't know what the it was. And then I hear this voice say, no, you're being deceived. And like everything just snapped back. I'm not in the dungeon anymore. I'm in my bathroom. Everything's like actually beautiful and bright and shiny. And I feel like this powerful, loving presence in the room with me. And I'm like, what the I open the door, I look out, and it's my ex-girlfriend again. She's not a lizard. She's sitting on my bed like, what the is going on? And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. I went grab a bottle of wine, and I just went upstairs and locked myself in the upstairs, and I just drank until I passed out. I was like, what the happened?
Did
But
you ever tell her like what you?
Well,
saw?
here's what happened. The next day I explained everything, and this is where I'm at with it. After the following days and weeks, I saw a different side of this woman that I hadn't seen before. You could say a very cold, manipulative, reptilian side of her.
8-foot tall side of her.
No, she didn't shapeshift anymore, but she was such a like she was trying to. I even caught like trying to steal money from me, like all kinds of that. I don't know if I just didn't see it before. Where I'm at is maybe the mushrooms were trying to tell me something about this lady, and it all manifested after the fact. Like she was a cold-hearted reptilian, even if she wasn't a reptilian. That's what she started. That's what started coming out, and I had to cut it off. I'm like, man, that's what that was about. Either she's a reptilian or she's got some reptilian energy that I'm not supposed to be with here. I think those mushrooms saved my life with that one.
I mean, people have some passengers, some dark passengers sometimes. I think that what happened to you, that vomiting of this black bile that you're talking about. When we speak to deliverance ministers,
Oh, that's interesting.
they'll often talk about that. Like there'll be like a purging, a physical purging. So Laura Baker has mentioned it. I think Randy Goodwin also has mentioned
And it's black.
black bile.
And get this, after this, I never got into a shitty relationship again.
Dang.
You might have accidentally delivered
Expelled.
yourself.
Yeah, that
I
bad
have been delivered.
relationship demon.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's
it's very possible.
fascinating. That's fascinating. Yeah, man. I mean,
It's crazy that you could like. What's crazy is, so a lot of people, obviously the some Christian people before in the YouTube chat were a little pissed off at what Chris is saying.
yeah.
But
They're always pissed off every episode, though.
yeah, they're like, these guys suck.
Yeah.
But no, I just think that there's more than one way to skin a cat. So the instructions in the Bible, the instructions you're going to get at church or from other people who are within the Christian faith will tell you, well, here are the steps. And those steps work to do some of these things. But we talk to a lot of people now who do this to themselves accidentally.
Yeah.
And it's like there are like transmutable characteristics of things that you can do, and then you'll get the same result.
Well, even me, it's like I'm sitting here. This is a Christian show. I don't know
This
if you know
is a
that.
Christian
This is a Christian show. And I've been through all of that. I mean, I came through what I guess would be best described as like Gnosticism, you know, and certainly
You were gay when I met you.
and still gay now, and certainly a lot of drug use. You know, I was doing a lot of fun stuff, and you know, we don't advocate for it, Chris, only because it's like we don't know where people are in their lives. You know, but I don't think that how do I say this? It's like I know people. I mean, much like your story here. You know what I mean? It's like, well, what, like you said before, what are the fruits of what you went through? You're living a life that is in alignment with Jesus Christ's teachings. You're praying. You're closer to Jesus and God, you know, than you have been before. You know, you treat people better. All these different things. This is a Christian show, you know. But there is an audience, or I guess a type of character that really locks up. And it's, I guess at the end of the day, it's like you're putting limitations on God if you think that God can only use, you know, the Christian church or the Catholic church to put you through the process that he needs to put you through in order for you to be utilized by him.
Well, I mean, it's like it's what a parent, that it's the advice a parent would give to a child.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't want you to go and get to the same spot that I'm at, but like do it through trial and error. I'll be like, hey, this is what worked for me. You know what I'm saying? Like avoid this. Like I was just telling you about our friend Colin. He did the same thing and had pretty good results. He was in contact with what he said was angels and things like that, getting great advice. But now, like to this day, he's still going through a slew of paranormal activity, like a lot of orb stuff. His girlfriend now they're
That's
dealing
8
with
foot tall lizard.
No, I don't think so. No, but his girlfriend now is dealing with
she's having experiences
like abduction type experiences.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
But I do
poltergeist. So,
wonder,
like,
it's like anybody who, even if you go, like, let's say you become a minister, right, or something like that, like people will say, like, "Yo, you're in the battle now."
Yeah.
And when you do that, when
but
you decide,
what are the rules?
what are the rules?
It's
Yeah.
crazy. We don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's one thing. You're never going to get the rules in this place, man. I think that was part of my journey, is just being thrown into the fire and making my own mistakes and just learning from them. And that's what it's been up until now. And, you know, like I said, I have no need to go back and do, you know, psilocybin or anything like that again. I don't even really meditate much anymore. Before I'm going to sleep, I can quiet down and everything enough to hear if I have to tell myself anything, you know, anything important. And it's just, you know, people, you know, whenever you say that, it's such a triggering thing. You're talking to voices. I mean, everybody does. They just don't, you know, it's not, I somehow was able to separate it through a series of experiences and then reintegrate it to have a better understanding of what it's always really been.
That's
the
interesting.
talking to voices thing is crazy too. I mean, our boy Frank just had on Jerry Marzinski, who we'll have on again.
I think you've had him
on the
right?
other day. Yeah.
Yeah. I love.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so glad that he's getting, you know, it's such important information that he has to share with people.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he tells it, he explains it way better than we can. We just like regurgitate stuff, but it's like, yeah, dude, everybody has these voices. At the end of Frank's show, he really nailed it. He's like, I just want your audience to know, everybody hears these voices. The question is like, if you are like, you have to be aware of the one listening. Who's listening? Because that's you. And everything else may not be, most likely will not be. I think it's like 80%.
Yeah.
Is
I mean,
not
I
yours.
agree with that. I think we all hear him. It's just how loud do we hear him?
And then also is like, what came to you? It's an entity, but does this always have to be a negative thing? What came to Mary? You know, what came to most of the people in the Bible, the prophets? It was like, it doesn't always have to be a fallen one.
And then ultimately,
although
even
it could be,
when something does come to you, you know, we were given free will here. So you still have a decision to make in this.
Well, you got to test it.
You got to test it. Yeah. And then it's like, you know, if you feel as though this is a negative, you don't have to do what this thing says. That's a wild, I mean, we get those all the time, right? Where it's like you're driving down the highway and it's like, pull that wheel, dog.
Yeah.
All the time.
You
and
could flip
sometimes
this
I pull
car
it.
so
Sometimes
hard,
I do.
dog.
I go, you know what? You're right. And I go, oh, that wasn't good. Shouldn't have listened to that. You know, so I mean, you don't always have to. Yeah, it's just it's a weird thing because you know, once again, just to reiterate, this is a Christian show. We
we're doing better.
We are doing better. We're doing a lot better. But we draw a specific audience, and sometimes those people, they get a little bit scared, and that's okay. It's okay to get a little bit scared, but like, you know, calm down. You know what I mean? Look, I want to get into this documentary.
Yeah, fear not,
Chris. There you go. Do not fear. This documentary that you made. There's two documentaries, but I want to specifically talk about the what was it called? The Layers of Perception.
Doors of Perception.
Doors of Perception. Yeah. So what's the premise of that? How do you set out to make this documentary? What is it all about?
Well, I see. Is this a trailer? Could we?
It is.
Would
Yes, you can
play
play
that?
the trailer.
Oh,
Sure.
dude, let's play that. That's great.
Let's play it. Why are we going to listen to Chris?
Yeah,
when we
we
can
it.
just
just listen to the YouTube video. Unbelievable.
I mean, might as well. Let's check it out. I'm interested. We can hear
The
this?
nature of this experience seems to always be just beyond the reach of our science, technology, and consciousness collective.
This guy sounds a lot
There's
like the guy we're
layers
talking to.
upon layers upon layers.
It does add such an element of mystery to this place.
Why are we here?
We're getting closer to the truth now.
There's too many people experiencing profound interactions with conscious entities.
I'm focused on the non-human intelligence contact phenomenon in dreams. Dreams involve interactions with real entities.
People are waking up paralyzed. They're sensing or seeing something very evil in the room.
I have experienced sleep paralysis. Shadow people start to appear.
I was taken from my earliest memories by non-human.
I am schizophrenic now.
I'm stoked.
Dude,
I like that.
That looks, that's not out yet?
That is. It's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, good. I'm watching that 100% tonight. 100% tonight I'm watching. That looks awesome, dude. Oh my goodness, it's so great too because
all my favorite things,
and all my favorite people too.
Yeah,
oh my god, I want to just hang out in a room with all those people.
Vicky Joy,
Vicky Joy Anderson. Yeah, man, dude. I don't know. Before we get into the larger topic, I gotta ask you a question, Chris. Do you think that all these things are like coming to a head? Because that documentary trailer that we just watched was a summation of the last 10 episodes that we did.
I mean, all of the episodes. This is summation of our show.
It's
Actually,
basically, we're done doing the show now.
Yeah, we'll use it as our intro, and then we won't even do the show.
We'll just play the documentary every episode because it's what it is. And then I'll pop on. I'll go, did you know politics is theater? I'll say that every time.
Next.
Man, so do you think these things are happening more frequently? Is it coming to a head? Is it the awareness surrounding it is becoming exponentially larger?
I think the awareness, more people, especially after 2020, started questioning the nature of reality in general. And it's like this huge domino effect that affected the rest of the planet. And now we have people who were too afraid to talk about their weird paranormal experiences, their extraterrestrial experiences. Now it's okay because the government says that aliens are real. So now these people who have shut up about it and were too terrified to be judged about their experiences are all coming out and saying, oh, well, the government said it's real. They won't judge me as much anymore if I talk about it. More people are coming out talking about their experiences, and we're comparing notes because we have the internet. Now, I think AI and a lot of the psychological operations are trying to throw a wrench in that right now and causing confusion and people not to know what is really going on. But the information is coming out. It's having an effect on people. I don't know if it's happening more, but I think there is more of a collective awareness of it. And when it does happen, it's getting more immediate attention, if you know what I mean.
I understand what you're saying. And I wonder what you think about, you engage with this phenomenon, especially if you choose a side. It seems that both positive and negative entities will interact to whatever degree. We're aware of a situation that's like unfolding in Indiana that partly is what our friend Colin is involved in. It seems that a lot of people in Indiana are having this, like it's a vision or it's a dream, and these people are unassociated with each other, but they are coincidentally, if you believe in that, in southern Indiana. And the dream or the vision is that they are going through a recruitment process. They're being petitioned by a negative entity. Seems like kind of a head honcho negative entity. I think one person even said that it described itself as Baal, which is interesting because Baal is sort of a title.
Is this
it
the
means
story
like,
that Tony Merkel broke?
Yes. So
Okay.
Tony's been talking about
this is the story that we broke.
Well, look, Tony has done a lot more work on it, but what I will say is
I heard it from Tony first. So
Yes.
So what happened is Tony. It's funny. Tony had the story about, is the guy's name Roy?
I forget what the guy's name is.
It was like part of his Dark
Shift.
Yes,
Shift series. Yeah. And then he also has another guy that's in Indiana. It was the Predator episode. He was like a Hell's Angel or one of those like biker club dudes that ran into the Predator, but also had this experience where he was proposed by well-dressed entity, shows him the girls, you can come here, but he's in some sort of underground cavern.
Yeah.
He says no. And we get Colin. We start the show 15 episodes, and 15 episodes, that's
nothing. Yeah,
we're almost at 200 at this point, but realistically we've done probably closer to 4 because we do like a lot of others. So just the main line. And yeah, so we get Colin at 15, and it's
the time frame was similar.
It wasn't even similar because Tony hadn't released that until like later.
Yeah. So Tony picked up on it. We released it as soon as we
passed Colin along to Tony as well, because we're like, yo, this dude's in Indiana, and he interviewed him. So it's like now it's like this compilation of things happening in this
So our research is overlapping with Tony's, but we say this is a Christian show, but we say choice words sometimes, and so Tony goes, well, and I don't blame him, and I don't blame him because we're terrible.
Yeah, no, and also this show's not necessarily about the experiences of these people. We do a show like that where we just read them, but obviously Tony's is like interview based on these people that have these experiences. That's a hard show to do.
It's a very hard show to do, because it's predicated on the listenability of your guest, and your guest is just some dude that went through something bizarre. But
could be rough.
So my question is like, because I know what you're saying at the top of the show, or maybe it was even before we started the show, Chris. You said you don't necessarily agree with this idea that like we're barreling towards some sort of end times. And I can see even how there's like an engineered effort to make us feel like we are. And I could also see the usefulness of that narrative if you really are engineering that and weaponizing that against people. However, there does seem to be something that's coming. And if you're looking at Blavatsky or what's the other, Alice Bailey, or any of these people that are saying, oh well, 2025 is going to be this new age.
Who's that other dude now? There's a third or fourth person on the horizon that Izzy told us about. I forgot his name.
I don't know. Oh, the guy that's supposed to be the new Crowley. Yeah, we should have wrote his thing down, but we said that's fascinating. I want to talk to him, and then we went,
never mind.
Anyway, even what's her name? Baba Vanga is this idea.
Sure.
2025, we're gonna chop it up with aliens. Put that wherever you want, but when you put it into conjunction with this idea that like, yeah, there seems to be a great awareness of these things happening, and also maybe a recruitment process in the subterranean cave systems of southern Indiana, and
That's
these
crazy.
people. What do you think?
Insane. right? But it's like,
Yeah.
but we have
That's cool, right?
we have corresponding evidence of people that don't know each other that are giving us the same, not the same story, but like very close to the same story. We're like, all right, well,
All
something's
right.
going
Well,
on.
I'll tell you where I'm at with it, and this is just consideration. This is just possibilities because I have no idea. But I talk to a lot, especially I used to talk to a lot of people that claim to be involved in the quote unquote secret space program. Now, they claim to,
Shout
at
out
times
David Wilcock.
at times be taken, against their will, and they either are projected into a clone's body that on a different planet where they go and fight aliens and all these incredible stories.
Yes.
But I have had
even a realm that's like Narnia-esque.
Yes. But I've had people on that explain to me that they claim to have been formerly involved in these, and they claim to know what's really going on, which is a complete mind control operation, that these people are being implanted with these false memories of these realms and implanted with memories of extraterrestrials and being abducted to perpetuate this UFO narrative that is emerging right now. And what better way to do that if you have people that believe their stories, that have actually been immersed in crazy situations with aliens, and they believe it wholeheartedly, but in reality they were maybe just being, injected with drugs, or who knows what kind of technology they have nowadays to get people to do this. I was talking to Vicky Joy Anderson about this very thing. She thinks people's dreams are being hacked for this very purpose as well, that people are being taken to these realms. She takes it to the extreme of maybe they're even being groomed by gay aliens to be gay in the future. There's some crazy possibilities. Yeah, because she says that that the younger folks who are experiencing sleep paralysis will have these sexual encounters with like same beings that are repeated, frequently. So that's a whole different weird thing. But another reason I look at the possible, military industrial involvement in some of this crazy alien stuff is because there's so many people that when they tell their abduction stories, there's like military dudes involved standing in the corner, like observing things. And
so yeah, that's what happened with Colin. This is one of the things he's
dude, to me that's a red flag. That's like, that says there's something else going on. And if if we are on the precipice of anything big, I would think it has to do with AI, man.
I would say there's a convergence.
I think AI is the aliens that we should really be worried about right now. And
like when Karen Wilkinson says that she saw those like flesh suits of alien grays just kind of piled in a corner, it's like, to me, I go, okay, we're talking like a biomechanical apparatus, and then who's building them, or who was commissioned to build them? Are we building them? Are they our craft? There's a spiritual component, sure, but like, are we building them? And are we building the grays? Are they coming out of dumbs or something like that? Like, like deep underground military bases. A lot of these craft are seen coming in and out of the ocean. There's that strange structure off of the coast of Malibu, California, where it looks like pillars. There's like giant columns, and
it's been removed recently, hasn't it?
From Google Maps. Yeah. And so, you start to imagine maybe these things are coming in and out of the ocean, and maybe there really is this, operation where they're creating these creatures in these deep underground military bases, and then using them. Maybe a spirit can inhabit them. Maybe they're just automatons, whatever. But like, over and over again, that element of military personnel is involved. And so for me to, be able to, and I refuse to just jump to this idea that they're space travelers or anything like that. Like, they're in an intimate working relationship with human beings on a military intelligence level. So what the hell is this? I'm kind of leaning towards these days
cooperation.
Well, not just cooperation, but like, we made them.
Yeah.
And maybe there is something like, historically speaking, human beings will be commissioned to create things. They'll be inspired to create things by spiritual entities. Is it the same thing that's happening now?
Yeah. I talked to Ryan Burns about this the other day. He said that there's this genetic facility in the Uintah Basin that people speculate chimeras escape from, that they're creating with genetic experiments, these werewolves and Bigfoot beings and crazy chimeras that sometimes may escape from these facilities, and that might account for some of the like crazy cryptids and stuff. But going back to the military,
Wait a second. Before we go back to that, we have another unfounded conspiracy theory.
Unfounded claim, highly speculative, low information.
Very low information.
Yes.
No, but the idea of like the Canadian wilderness right now and state parks in America that are flying the flag upside down. But we know that they're finding people up to $28,000 in some cases that have stepped into the forest in certain parts of Canada, like the more wild parts of Canada.
Yeah.
So
and then there's this idea that there's a program. I don't know if you've ever heard of this program. There's only one schizophrenic guy I can find talking about this, and he seems to be a fake account.
Liar.
But that's where I get all my information from. And so there's this program called Edan, which is a play off of Eden. And it's this idea that there are these creatures being created in deep underground military bases. There used to be a CIA-funded feeding program for them called Meals on Wheels, which is where they would just for whatever reason, because that's convenient. But that sort of dried up.
That's not convenient. Again, it's like if these entities
man
have
meat
to
tastes best.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there has to be some sort of sentience to.
Who knows? Who knows what they got to torture them? They got to drink their adrenochrome.
To their sustenance would actually make sense for. I'm just saying, we're just.
Whatever, man. This is all the truth, right? And that at some point this Meals on Wheels deal kind of dried up. And
Well, it's not even at some point. The crazy part is that it would track when you're talking about
the mercy and everything that.
No, it's not even it more like geopolitics or politics in general. After Elon Musk sort of cleaned it up with Doge, I forget the name of the organization. It's not APAC. It's a different organization that funds basically everything. And once that organization was cut off, you see a lot of these like the branches basically withering away.
Or if you look at the whole QAnon thing,
help me out.
The idea that sometime after 2020, like so many human trafficking rings were busted up and broken up that their supply ran low, which is why, Chris, that joke goes on running every time some
USAID. Thank you, Forbidden Redbeard. Yeah,
Forbidden Redbeard crushing.
Yeah, USAID is one of those feeder programs to hundreds.
Yeah.
Of that, they like to say, it's a Democrat
money laundering.
Op, but it's not necessarily a Democrat op. This thing goes into Republican programs as well. It's just dark programs that get funded through USAID. That's been raided by Doge, which is kind of run by Elon Musk, and now that's dried up. So if you're looking at some of these agencies that have lost funding, which a ton have.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
So we're again, just to add more fuel to the fire, we're out of Afghanistan. So the poppy trade there and the things that we were doing there with those black operations are now dead. And we got out of there in a hurry too.
We did.
We left a whole bunch of stuff behind. We're like, we just got to leave. But
so if all that money was going towards feeding chimeric goat men,
just maybe
now at some point you go, all right, goat man, I get that you're hungry and you're cranky and. Go on then. Go to the surface.
Dog.
And then
yeah.
David Paulides goes, all these people are missing. And so what I'm saying, Chris, is that's true, right?
100%, man. 100%. Dude, I don't know. It's because I have a friend in Louisiana that was a major subject of my first film, Occult Louisiana, who has regular encounters with a Sasquatch.
Oh.
His first experience, he went out into the woods and he saw through the scope of his rifle not only a Sasquatch, but he claims there was a dog man chilling with a werewolf and a Sasquatch chilling together.
It's not uncommon.
I think I've heard this story. This might be the same story.
And he looked through the scope of and then they started to telepathically communicate. The werewolf was like, I'm going to come over there, rip that out of your hands and you. And the Sasquatch was like, nah, he shouldn't do that. He's not harmful. And Scott freaks out and, exit the woods. He turns back to look and see, and there's like 4 8-foot tall hairy creatures following him out. He claims to make sure he makes it out of there. But after that, it like cracks open his perception. He's having enter his house at the middle of the night, leaving Bigfoot footprints, looking through his window, telepathic communication from weird things. And then all of a sudden, last year, he's being abducted by aliens all of a sudden. So
always together. This is once again Nathaniel Gillis, the phenomenon, right? It just takes the appearance, or is it really like a like a bunch of beings, or is it one thing that can just masquerade? But these things, it's like, remember when Bigfoot was just a big footed, and now he's with aliens and orbs, and
he said he saw
poltergeist
little
activity?
tiny Bigfoot creatures that would come out of holes in the ground as smoke and then would form into a physical being.
Jeez, dude.
What the is that? I don't know.
That's really hard to deal with. I like to think that I can think of all kinds of, and I go, I didn't have I looked up because I was like, where do I plug that piece in? And I just don't have a piece to plug that into. I mean, I know the smoke thing, right? You'll see that, especially like I had a demonic encounter and he was all covered in
That's
sort
just
of
for effect.
Yeah, well, it was effective. He was covered in like a black swirling smoke. Man, I don't know.
Do you think the smoke is like, it's part of it because metaphysically we have to do, or they're just like,
Well,
just
think
looks
about
cool?
plasma. Yeah, I mean, not plasma. What do they do when you have a seance? Everybody holds hands together.
The ectoplasm.
Ectoplasm, right? It looks like an organic smoke. It moves like smoke, but it's almost like a tangible. It's almost closer to a liquid. And these channelers or whatever. This is, you see this in like a haunted house in Ohio, or I forget what the hell the name of the haunting in Connecticut, I think, is when they show this in a movie. When the channeler is channeling, ectoplasm starts to come out of his nose, his mouth. I don't know if it killed him in the movie, and that's supposedly based off of like real events. But there are these old accounts of these people who are having these spiritual encounters, or they're channeling spiritual encounters. They're speaking. The spirit is speaking through them to the individuals at the table, and ectoplasm is present. It's coming out of the individual who's speaking. And it resembles smoke. One of those things that doesn't really come up in conversation anymore. Ectoplasm.
I think it's been kind of made comedic by like Ghostbusters, right? Slimer and stuff like that. Which also, listen, Dan Aykroyd, he knows what's up, dude.
Does
like,
he?
I was just scrolling through Netflix and you see like cone heads. I'm like, this guy knows.
Dan Aykroyd
he's like
had a
super
whole
into
thing.
UFOs and stuff. Yeah,
That's what I was just gonna say. Yeah, he's very into the paranormal.
I think he does a great. I wish we had like a modern day Dan Aykroyd. I mean, it would be Tim Dillon, but like making these sort of movies, because he introduced these concepts to the general public, and it's done in a very funny way. But Ghostbusters is a banger. Coneheads is one of these movies that lasts forever, and it's just kind of, but it tells you the story of what this is.
I got to give this to Z-Man.
It's mostly piss.
If you get it, you get it. That's a very funny Z-Man. That's very, very funny. He's one of the funniest. I hate him.
Great.
It's mostly piss. Oh my god. Okay, so let's get back into this documentary.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything else you could tell us about it? What did you learn throughout the process?
I learned that I don't know about but I mean, I learned that if I could take away one thing, is that our perception is going to heavily affect the nature of any given paranormal experience. If the way we perceive things may manifest a certain outcome during these experiences. I have spoken with people who have immersed themselves in things like this with, high level individuals, you could say, like Ryan Burns. I was telling you that he has billionaires and people come out there with all kinds of equipment and something called an Anja lamp, which basically it recreates a psychedelic experience using some kind of technology that emits these waves, within a certain distance. But he's having all these people come out to his property and do these experiments. And he tells me about them sometimes, and they are required to leave any, negative baggage at the door. They can't come in there with any like negative thoughts or feelings, because that will manifest into whatever they're doing. If everybody's like, cool and what you would say vibrating high, all the experiences will be positive. So that's something interesting that, I kind of came away with, although I don't know really what it means. But another thing is a lot of what we understand as paranormal has been weaponized. And it goes back to the military industrial complex. I will never be the same after what I saw at Space Wolf Research Center. As soon as it turned dark at night, first of all, you see the UFOs shooting across the sky.
Just like that, huh?
Yeah, dude, they're everywhere. Like, I have never seen so many things that I can't identify just zipping across the sky at night. Some of them were planes, some of them were satellites, but much of the stuff I had no idea what it was. Then on the mesa, you see these lights manifest that get real bright and white, and then these little dots shoot out of them, like a portal's opening and something is shooting out of the portal. Well, while all this stuff is happening, Ryan goes and gets night vision goggles for us, and he says, just look around at the landscape. We start looking around, and there are people, like shadows of people walking around all over the place, shining these purple lasers. You can see the outline of rifles, some of them. It is Black Ops teams surrounding the area, shining these lasers at us, shining all this equipment at us. Who knows what they're doing? He says they do all kinds of exotic testing on people that just come out there to observe the phenomena, that they're actually testing exotic weaponry on people just going out there. Yes. All over.
They don't ask.
Dude, what are you going to do? Go like,
yeah, what are you going to do? He's like, I can't do anything about this. They're like always here.
And Team 6, dude, and you say like, hey, you can't sign that on my property.
But
That's
yeah,
crazy.
Apparently a lot of the things that people are witnessing, I'll give you an example. He said that his friend was attacked by these nanobots, these self-assembling nanotechnology that at first was a tornado. It shapeshifted into a coyote and then shapeshifted into this, all he could just say was this monster creature that took one of his friends and lifted him off up the ground and pinned him against the trailer. This is self-assembling nanotechnology that he claims is from our military that did. This isn't like a ghost or demon or anything. He said this was legit military technology that did this because he said he's seen it before. He said he's seen like this being tested.
Do you think that the area has gotten such a reputation for high strangeness that it creates a veil of like plausible deniability so you can kind
100%.
of operate there, do whatever the hell you want because it's Skinwalker Ranch, baby, and weird shit happens here.
Yeah, I mean, weird does happen there. You get the Skinwalker stories all the time. I don't know if you heard Ryan's recent appearance on Sam's show.
Yeah.
Where he talked about those 3 dudes. Well, he told me that story too, where, these 3 guys had canine features. They had eye shine like canines. They were leaping over fences unlike any human could ever do. Next day, they're found with gunshot wounds. I mean, there is some very unexplainable crazy that happens.
Yeah, just
there.
for the audience, it was like those guys, or they weren't really in a guy form, right? They were in this like
they were in semi guy form. They said that they all looked like they didn't have but like shorts on. They didn't have shirts on. They looked mostly human, but when they looked at them, you could see canine eye shine. And they all moved in synchronicity, like they all sat down like dogs at the same time, and they all got up and leaped towards them and started running like dogs on all 4s at the same time. So just super creepy. But he claims that the members of the Ute tribe are doing these rituals there where they can project themselves as like animals by using, some kind of black magic ritual in the pelt of an animal. Can do some crazy like that.
Yeah, that's like, so when they found these guys dead in their trailers, which apparently were separated by like roughly a half an hour each, their trailers were filled with like all kinds of pelts from different animals, bones, and it was clearly they were doing some sort of rituals, but even the pelts themselves were like, you could have done some jail time for having certain animal pelts there. It wasn't like a legal thing that you could poach. And these Native American guys just had a gang of them in their trailers, and then
it's interesting that they would eat the bullets, even though they're kind of like a astral projecting into.
He says it could go both ways. He said sometimes it seems that there's actual people shape shifting into different creatures. They're physically out there, and appearing or shapeshifting into different beings.
We've heard that.
Apparently, that's a thing.
We've heard that on Merkel's show as well. Although that account was a little strange. The guy who said he was dating.
Oh yeah. Merkel holds to that. He understands how strange it was, and I think the guy just, you're asking average people to come on and tell an extraordinary experience, and then try not to slip into some weird ass way of describing it. So Merkel says, as far as he's concerned, that it was a true story. But yeah, you're dealing with the Skinwalker is one thing. No. Liars, no. You're dealing with like lichen, right? That's I guess that would be the terminology for actual werewolf people, which sounds insane until you keep hearing testimony after testimony after testimony, and you go like, I don't know, man, is there something here? And I'm to the point now where I'm like, why not?
I mean, maybe. Where do these
Chris
stories...
dated a lizard?
yeah, dude.
Why not?
I mean, Tila Tequila was a lizard. We were talking the other day about it.
I don't know if she was a lizard.
I think she was.
You keep saying Tila Tequila was a lizard, and I don't.
Well, the story, like I said, the story was that Billy Corgan was sleeping with her. That's just. It's just.
Who told you that? Are you going to keep your sources to yourself?
I don't remember the source, so I'm keeping it to
All
myself.
Right, that's fine.
But he did tell the story on
he
Rogan.
Did. Yeah, he did.
Where he was sleeping with somebody famous, and then later on, I hear that it is Tila Tequila, and at the point of orgasm, mask slips and he sees lizard person.
Yeah,
right on.
Like a
nut.
Yeah, it just comes off her face and then
comes
back
on her.
No,
this
is a Christian.
This is a Christian show.
Please?
I'm sorry, and I won't do it again. And I promise not to do it again.
He's like,
and I won't do it again.
Man,
I won't say that anymore. You know what I did hear? The same thing happens with crones.
Right.
So a crone will lead you into a sexual encounter, and then when it's time to,
finish.
Mm-hmm. All of a sudden she's like, ah!
It's something about like, the sexual.
Yep.
The sexual energy, like the transfer of it, where they're just like, I just
it's
like
time to show. Well, you know why? Because you're not gonna stop. Like that's just they know.
Yeah,
it's time to nut.
You've come this far.
You come pretty far.
Oh man.
So now
makes me thinking. Looking back, I should have taken advantage of that while she was still in that form.
I mean, 8 feet tall is.
It's an experience,
that's
man.
A strong.
Yeah, it's like while you're there, put up this picture.
I've had Smoke put up this picture. Would you mind? I've got this furniture to move. You gigantic bit. I almost did it. I almost swore, but I didn't swear because this is a Christian show. Whoa! What happened? Oh, don't worry about it. We're good. Never mind. We had a little electrical thing in this. You know what? That was God being like, "This is a Christian show. You got to stop doing that." I want to ask you. You said that you had been. You've been to Space Wolf?
Yes, I spent the night over there.
Are those days behind you? Or are you still interested in doing that sort of thing?
I don't want to go back there, man. I really don't. Like that was probably enough for me. It's things that I can't control like that. It's just, I'd rather be in a safe spiritual space than put myself into spiritual danger, basically, because I felt that negative energy the whole time I was out. It's this weird kind of foreboding, oppressive energy that makes you want to look around your shoulder all the time. It just feels like something's watching. It wasn't too fun, but I don't know if I'd ever go out there again. But I have to tell you one of the craziest stories Ryan told me, and this is as legit paranormal as it gets. The Satanist guy who was on his property.
I was just going to ask about him. Like I was like, this guy has something more here.
Yes, he does. He for some reason was staying in the Ryan's main trailer for a week or so. I don't know why, but when Ryan gets back, he had these sigils painted inside his trailer all over with this black substance that he couldn't identify. Well, he goes to clean it off, and it's not coming off with water. It's not coming off with soap and water. It's not coming off with anything. He tries all kinds of different chemicals. This is not coming off. Well, one of his Ute tribe friends comes over, and this guy is a member of a Ute tribe, but he's also a Christian. And he says, the only thing that's going to work on that is holy water. And Ryan's like, bullshit. So they go to their local church. They pick up some holy water, And he said as soon as he splashed it on there, it like evaporated in this like mini explosion. And that's all they had to do was throw holy water on it, and the sigils disappeared.
So a lot of questions here. Is Ryan still renting to this guy?
As far as I know, yes.
That's retarded. I like him. I like your style, but it's crazy.
He must
Ryan.
have let a hefty security deposit.
Yeah, dude. Listen, if you put like sigils on my wall that I got to take off with holy water, you are out, dog.
You got to go. Yeah.
You're gone.
That's crazy. You know what's interesting is that black goo. Not only does it show itself in like purges when.
Well, what did you vomit up, dog?
Well, that's what I was saying. Yeah. But it also shows itself. I was talking to Jamie Henshaw Dyer, and
we have to have her back on.
We do
I was
have to
just
have her
talking to her again as well.
So there was like an interaction she was getting in with somebody, and she said, "What if demonic like possession or things like that? I'm paraphrasing terribly. Is actually just like black mold?" And I said, "What if parasites and black mold are actually organic conduits for negative spiritual energy, negative conductors? Like maybe there's something about it." And then she said like, that's it. And she dropped an episode on me. She had like a whole episode. I didn't watch it because I'm rude, but
want to know something crazy?
What's that?
So right where we're sitting, actually.
Oh, good. That's great. Here we
demons,
go.
Right here. No, like right here, there's actually a beam that's holding up the wall because this was a staircase. I had like there's another staircase on the other side, and it was a double staircase. This was a whole different thing. We made it into a room office. But right here on this wall was black mold.
Yeah, in the shape of a man,
a hexagram. No,
yes.
it was black mold, but it was coming from the upstairs because in the air conditioning in that separate room that we have upstairs, there's like another unit upstairs, and it was like doing a slow drip for God knows how long. It was probably since before we even bought the house because it was like behind the wall. So when we ripped out the staircase and we saw that we got it all treated, scraped it up, and painted it and got rid of it. Same room that the girl left the underwear in.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, it was like
Are
a
you familiar with
witchcraft
that story?
underwear.
No.
No, nobody's following you around watching your
My bad.
witchcraft underwear stories.
Do you watch
dude.
the show,
Yeah,
Chris?
Man, unbelievable. Every episode's about it. Go on.
We had somebody when I first moved in here. We hosted a comedy show. An old friend brought his girlfriend, and they stood over in this room. These people sleep a lot. They're very tired. The girl's a little weird. While we're actually doing the comedy show and a podcast downstairs, the girl and another girl are running up and down, and they're laughing. My aunt sees this. My aunt, who's also been on the show, she's got some demonic encounters and possibly still passenger, but she sees this, finds it weird, and I'm doing a thing, so I don't know what they're doing. Anyway, next day happens. They sleep in really late. Everybody else leaves. A guy comes to unload my parents' truck because we're like I said, we just got here. We're moving in. And then they come down out into the yard to say goodbye. This random guy that I don't know recognizes the girl, and they have a stare off. It's crazy. Like if looks could, that's what happened there. And I'm just like, what the hell was that? So I don't say anything, and I continue to help the guy move my parents in his truck and all that. And then he just looks at me, goes, "You know that girl?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "That girl is a witch. No bones about it." And I was like, I wasn't doing this show, wasn't even thinking about anything spiritual like that at the time. So I was just like, all right, weird. Months later, my entire family gets sick. Like my kids, starts with my kids. We get them squared away. Goes to my wife. She's messed up to the point where it's like Lyme disease. Who knew she even had it? And it ran the gamut. She was like bedridden for a month. It was crazy. Whoa. We got rid of all that stuff. And it's an even crazier story as you continue. But like in that room, after the girl left, my wife cleans it out, and she goes, and within the sheets is a pair of soiled panties.
Filthy panties.
That she's left. And it's like, we made fun of it. We made jokes. And then like, it was only like years later until like other things unfolded.
Yeah.
Friendships fall away.
In hindsight.
Yeah, in hindsight, like somebody on this show was saying something, and I was like, that happened to me. Like they were talking about artifacts being left in places.
Yeah.
And I was like, that actually happened to me.
That
and then put that together with like the guy just said
mold.
this girl's a witch. And then there's black mold, but no, for sure, black mold, parasites, and artifacts, witchcraft. These are all the same things, man.
Atma said, because he made a joke. He said some people pay good money for used panties. Wait a second though. If you're a some Wiccan chick and you're trying to you're
Selling
just
bath water?
selling nasty panties to people, and you got a little spiritual. Don't stop.
Sorry.
It's unbelievable. And you got a little spiritual hold on all your clientele now. You're doing magic.
Yes.
Sydney Sweeney bathwater soap.
Right, with the hole in the middle when they're doing the. I think they're doing that. Yeah.
Well, I had a guest. I had a guest, Phoenix Aurelius. He's a magic practitioner, but
is that his real name?
I don't know. But he claims that there is a mass kind of younger kids dabbling in witchcraft and up their lives completely, getting sick, dying, getting demonic possession, all for the TikTok, the TikTok witch craze or whatever that they're doing.
Yep.
But according to him, it's kids are being up because they're practicing black magic. And you're right on with the parasite thing. Have you ever seen parasites through a microscope?
Yeah, they look like
are
monsters.
demons. Yeah.
That's interesting. I think Keisha in the chat is actually the one who she didn't say it, but I remember she said it on Twitter, I believe, that that black mold thing being a conduit for negative spiritual energy is kind of the premise of Stranger Things. And then I was like, oh my God, dude, yeah, you don't get a spooky movie or a spooky show without the walls being covered in like black mold or black goo.
Mm-hmm.
And even the whole thing where there's like a portal and it leads to the upside down, like everything is black mold in there. And it's such a common mechanism in movies and shows that are like horror based, that it goes over your head, because it's just like, now it's what you imagine the scenario would look like. Like, oh yeah, if you want to make a spooky set, like get some black mold on the walls. Like that's a good move. And yeah, in Stranger Things, it's like this organic black goo on the walls surrounding the portals and everything. I'm like, they do this, they put it right in front of you, and it's utilized so often.
I think, dude, man, I mean, my godparents they live in Staten Island, but their life has been kind of like a mess, and it's such a mess to the point where they got a hole in their ceiling in their living room because there was like a water leak damage. They just don't even fix it. Like there's a lot of alcoholism, there's a lot of craziness, but like there's clearly black mold within the rafters, and they have never addressed it. And I'm like, your life's completely upside down. I was like, I would start with that.
The mold, maybe.
I would get that out of there. Like you can do things to yourself, like physically. You can pray. You can do a lot of these things. But physically, right now, the externalities in your house it's just a bad place.
That's interesting, because to Chris's story, it's like, yeah, you can pray and all this other stuff. But what if that entity's like, yo, dog, you probably got to stop doing the pharmaceuticals. You should probably eat healthy and get that right first, because there's a lot of spiritual things you could do, but like you're in the physical.
Well, let me just say, I think what happened to my wife, if I'm correct, if this was like a spiritual attack, if this was witchcraft that happened to her, we fixed it. We weren't like praying at the time. Like I had rejected my old Christianity because I had a big falling out with the church. So at the time, what we did was like, all right, what can we do? We tried the Western Medical Center, the Western medical tactics, and they wanted to put her on medication she would be on for the rest of her life. So like, that's a no. Then we went the holistic route, which is like, it's basically science, right? But we did IV infusions of vitamin C, glutathione, things like that. And she was on, it's like a very expensive parasite cleanses, supplements that were targeting specific parts of her body, flushes, the sauna machine we had. And you know what? That regimen cleared her up. So it's like, I'm sure that if we would have prayed or like went a spiritual route,
some temporary alleviation, but it's like, you
got to deal with the physical as well. Cause like these things are the same.
They're married.
They work hand in hand.
Yeah.
And that worked for us. And the funny thing too is like soon after we start doing this show, all the sponsors, like the early sponsors of the show, Parasite Cleanse Company, Matt Rife with his Rife
Frequency,
coils,
yeah.
all the stuff that we were using to get my wife on her feet that like cost me tons of money, it was given right back to us. Kind of crazy.
Very interesting.
But I guess that's how it works, right?
Yeah, man. I think that the parasite thing is a huge right now, and if you look at some of the things that they can cause, they can be like voices in your head telling you to, do things. It actually causes manifestations like that, and you're feeding your body like they have these parasites that cause you to crave sugar, and all you're doing is shoving sugar in your body, and that's causing more and more diseases and sickness, and it just builds up, and it's a perpetual effect that attracts more parasites and different kind of parasites. So I think that the physical side, like you're saying, is just as equally important to address as any of the spiritual stuff, because I didn't really immerse myself into the spiritual things until later, especially implementing teachings of Jesus Christ and knowing that that is going to be my belief. And I've come to understand that belief is such an important thing. If you're going through life and you don't believe anything, it's probably going to be a very difficult life for you to get through, because that belief has such power. And if you're connecting to something that is powerful as a belief on its own, like as powerful as the belief in Jesus Christ, just that word, you guys know, has immense power when it comes to the paranormal realms and entities. The entire, I guess, realm of Christianity as it relates to the teachings of Jesus, solely the teachings of Jesus, are such a powerful, I don't want to say egregore, because I believe it's a real thing, but it has such powerful energy that you can apply it to almost anything, and it has an effect to it. And that's why I believe, that's why I turn to the teachings of Jesus Christ, because I think it is one of the most powerful and effective tools we have in this matrix reality, whatever this is, to navigate it. That is, part of our, guess you could say, celestial spiritual heritage, is to connect with that. And it's a very powerful energy to go through life with.
Chris, I want to ask you, we're coming up on the 2-hour mark. And before I get into our final question, I want to ask you, do you have are you working on anything else in the you seem like a guy that's just doing a lot. What else you got cooking?
I am always doing the podcast. I have the Forbidden Knowledge Network, where we feature about 12 other podcasts. We put out clips and promote those. But I am also working on my third film, which is going to be a sci-fi comedy mockumentary type of film. And I'm working on the script for that right now, but I didn't realize how hard it is to write a script, so that may take a little time to finish, but that is my next project. And I'm going to try and get some close friends involved, probably some faces that you guys recognize as well, and have a good time with that. But yeah, I'm always working on projects and new things, but the one constant is Forbidden Knowledge News. We do like 6 shows a week on there, and on all podcast platforms.
Very cool. Yeah, I just like when you see people in our space, it's interesting because you can kind of just do a show, and if the content is good and it's compelling, then you're gonna get pretty far. But it's cool when people are doing something above and beyond. We were actually asking ourselves that the other day. It was like, what are we? Are we guys in chairs in front of a camera? You know what I mean? For hundreds and hundreds of episodes, or do we do other things that are fun? And we do live events and documentaries and such, and so it's cool to see.
Well, I look at my life, and it's very difficult to find a time when I'm actually not working, when I'm actually not trying to do something for the show. I mean, I have to make myself stop and take a break. You're going to take this day off. You're going to take a couple of days off because you're going nuts. I have to force myself to stop because I'm actually working like 24/7 now, and I really don't even notice it because it's just such a wonderful thing to be able to do. I get to talk about weird all day and make a living from it. I mean, hell, man, I'm blessed.
So that brings me to my next question, which I believe you've already answered, but final question of the show.
Answer it again.
Answer it again. Are you having fun?
I'm having the best time of my life, man. I've never been happier, never been more spiritually fulfilled. And I've never had less fear than I do in my life now. I don't worry about like I always did. I'm not, constantly worried about is the reptilians going to come and me, or is the end of the world around the corner? No, I just kind of flow with everything because I know that I have that belief. I have that way home in a sense through JC. And that's like such a powerful, tool to have to navigate, because it gives you that comfort, because it gives you that knowing that no matter what else anybody else is doing, you're going to be good because you got this. So that's where I'm at with everything.
I love it. That's a great attitude to have. That's kind of where I'm at as well. I'm like, I'm having fun. I'm not too worried. But I'm still like, we're still working. We're still doing
and if they
all
do
the stuff,
hunt us down and us,
whatever.
If like an 8 foot tall lizard in a nightgown butt plugs us, I'm gonna make fun of it.
Yeah, that's what they're like. Oh, they're working on a new virus. I'm like, well,
you bend over and you spread them wider. And you'd be like, come on.
Yeah,
I tell you,
is that all you got?
If you're gonna do a new virus, just make it strong enough to kill me this time.
That's
all
it.
right.
Yeah, and I'm gonna make fun of it too.
Yeah, go for it. Do your best. But all right, man. Thank you again. And guys, Forbidden Knowledge News. Forbidden Knowledge News, the podcast. Go check him out. Watch his documentaries.
I'm watching. I'm legitimately watching it tonight. I'm excited for that. That was such a banger of a trailer.
You got hype.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got hype. I was pumped. It was all my favorite people, and it was all my favorite topics. It was very, very, very good, Chris. Very good.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Everyone, go check that out. Amazon Prime.
Absolutely. All right, guys. And until next time, whenever I get this layout correct, don't forget, and I'm just taking my time with it, to obey, submit, and comply.
The greatest hypnotist on planet Earth is a oblong box in the corner of the room. It is constantly telling us what to believe is real.
You can persuade them that what they see with their eyes is what there is to see.